Call this meeting to order. First order of business, roll call, please.
Alderman Bass.
Here.
Alderman Cleaver.
Here.
Alderman Headley. Alderman Knox.
Here.
Alderman Mills.
Here.
Alderman Stratton. Here. There's a quorum.
Next order of business, invocation led by Pastor Darrell Jones of Crossroads Church, followed by Pledge of Allegiance led by Alderman Bass.
Let's pray together. Lord our God, we are extremely grateful for this place where you put us, this place that you created for us, this place that you looked at, and when you created it, you said, it is good. And it is good, and we're grateful for it. We are aware and know there's evil around us. There's self-centeredness around us, and we thank you for law enforcement and civil servants that are there to protect us from those things. And for those that are represented here in the room this evening, I just want to express thankfulness to you for your calling and to them for their service. And for each of these civil servants that represent the wards of our community, that represent people that desire the betterment, the fulfillment, the opportunity to raise children and grandchildren in a community like they once lived in. God, I'm thankful for those who have devoted the time and the energy to serve us in these civic duties so that the rest of us don't have to. We can go about the things that we're called to do. And so I'm grateful for the sacrifices made by those up here on the dais tonight. And God, I'm thankful for our city workers, and we just want to express thanks for them and for the day that you've given us, and for this evening to transact business for our city, so that each of us can have the maximized opportunity to live in freedom and liberty, to make the money we need, to live the lives that protect and raise our children, and provide a living for ourselves. And so we pray your blessings on the business of tonight, the decisions, the tough decisions, the easy decisions. And God, I just pray that you would bring unity among our leaders. In the name of Jesus, we pray.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next order of business, approval of agenda.
No changes, Mayor.
Next proclamation, seeing none. Next, citizen participation. If anyone would like to address the board, please come forward, state your name and address, and please limit your comments to 2 minutes. Seeing none, next order of business, consent agenda.
Mayor, I move we accept the consent agenda.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Knox. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion carries 6-0. Previous business, seeing none. New business, seeing none. Presentations, none. Public hearings, none. Next item, resolutions. First resolution is R22-7, a resolution authorizing the resolution by the Board of Aldermen authorizing the city administrator to spend funds to renew the annual software agreement with Dude Solutions.
I move that we approve resolution number R22-07.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Headley. All in favor, or I'm sorry, discussion?
Mayor, members of the board, Dude Solutions is who we use with Public Works for asset management. So this would be a renewal of that agreement.
Discussions, questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion carries 6-0. Next item, resolution R22-08, resolution by the Board of Aldermen The City of Green Valley authorizing the city administrator to purchase 10-foot stainless steel salt spreader.
Mayor, I move that we approve resolution number R 22-08.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Knox, discussion?
Mayor, members of the board, if you remember back to budget time, this is one of the capital items that we had proposed, and it's a new salt spreader for one of our trucks for maintenance.
Further comments, questions? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion carries 6-0. Next item, Resolution R 22-10. A resolution by the Board of Aldermen, City of Green Valley, authorizing the modification to Missouri local government.
9 first.
Oh, I skipped 9, I'm sorry.
Sorry. No, that's okay.
I'm sorry. It's Resolution R 22-09. A resolution authorizing the Board of Aldermen establishing need for a 2022 budget modification for the Missouri Government Employees Retirement System loggers. Benefits and changes to covered employees, changing the benefits from L7 to L6.
Mayor, I move that we approve resolution number R 22-09.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Mills. Discussion?
Mayor, members of the board, once again, if we went back to budget time, one of the things that we had discussed was changing the level of retirement through loggers for city employees. And if you remember, there was a process that we had to go through. With November 22nd, we entered that into the minutes, and then there was a waiting period after that for comment. We have gone past that period now, so it's coming back to you. This resolution would be to have an ordinance tonight that would amend the budget to release those funds out of reserves.
Further questions, comments, discussion?
Mayor and board, I will be abstaining from all 5 issues tonight that are on the here for, Bluetooth, gotta love that, that are involving the retirement and contract of police officers.
Thank you. Any further discussion, comments? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion carries 6-0. Now, we'll go to R 22-10. A resolution by the Aldermen authorizing the modification of Missouri Government Employees Retirement Program loggers. Benefit program to cover employees, changing benefit plan from L7 to L6.
Mayor, I move we accept resolution 22-10.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Bass. Discussion?
Mayor, members of the board, this is the resolution required by loggers as the action from the board to move from L7 to L6, which would take the multiplier from 1.5 to 2%.
Further questions, comments, discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion carries 5-0. Next item, Resolution R 22-11, resolution by Board of Aldermen authorizing the city administrator to execute a task agreement number 5 with the Lamp Ryerson for design of Armstrong Park.
You gonna go on with the rest of it?
No, not
Okay.
necessarily.
Mayor, I move that we accept resolution R 22-11.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second. Discussion?
Mayor, members of the board, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Davies for a second.
Mayor and board, so this project is going to replace existing play structures in Armstrong Park. We've got 2 separate play structures, a 5 to 12-year-old playground that was constructed in the late 90s, and then we have a 2 to 5-year-old playground that was constructed early 2000s. So They've reached their useful life. We're starting to experience increased maintenance costs. They're not 100% all-inclusive in that they're not fully ADA compliant. So this project will satisfy that, which would be good. This is a budgeted item for 2022. It's also in our 5-year CIP capital improvements program as well too. This is for the design part of the project.
Any further discussion, comments? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion carries 6-0. Next item, resolution R 22-12, a resolution by the Board of Aldermen, City of Green Valley, authorizing the city administrator to purchase 3 new patrol cars and equipment for the 3 cars.
Mayor, I move that we approve resolution number R 22-12.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Knox, discussion?
Mayor, members of the board, these 3 cars would be, 2 of them would be, that were in the vehicle equipment replacement program. And then the 3rd vehicle would be to account for the 2 additional officers that were approved with the budget.
Further discussion, comments? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion carries 6-0. Next item, resolution R 22-13, a resolution by the Board of Aldermen adopting the labor agreement with the Fraternal Order of Police for sworn officers and authorizing the city administrator to sign the agreement on behalf of the city.
Mayor, I move that we approve resolution number R 22-13.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Mills, discussion?
Mayor, members of the board, this agreement would include police officers, SROs, and detectives, and would run through 2024. And I'd like to thank the union member rep for Officer Stat, for working through this process with us.
Further discussion, question, comments? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion carries 5-0. Next item, resolution R 22-14, a resolution by the Board of Aldermen, the City of Green Valley, adopting the labor agreement between the Fraternal Order of Police for sworn officers, sergeants, and authorizing the city administrator to sign agreement on behalf of the city.
Mayor, I move that we approve resolution number R 22-14.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? I'm
Mayor,
sorry. Second by Alderman Knox, discussion?
Mayor, members of the board, this agreement covers the sergeants in the department, and on this, I'd like to thank the member rep, Sergeant Stratton, for his help through the process.
Further discussion, questions? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion carries 5-0. Next item, ordinances, ordinance B 22-02.
This is an ordinance by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Green Valley, Missouri, authorizing the city administrator to amend the 2022 budget to allocate funding from the General Fund, Parks Fund, Water Sewer Fund, and the Transportation Fund reserves for a modification of the Missouri Local Government Employee Retirement System, loggers, benefit program for covered employees, changing the benefit plan from L7 to L6.
I move that we accept the first reading of bill number B 22-02 and make a second reading by title only.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Headley, discussion?
Mayor and members of the board, this is the amendment to the budget that needs to be made to account for that change from L7 to L6. If you remember, we went through budget time. We did not put it in at that point just because the actual dollar amounts weren't official. We had to go through the actuary process to get that, and we do have that. So this is the amendment for that.
Further questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion carries 5-0. Next item, second read, B 22-02.
This is an ordinance by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Grain Valley, Missouri, authorizing the city administrator to amend the 2022 budget to allocate funding from the General Fund, Parks Fund, Water Sewer Fund, and Transportation Fund reserves for a modification of the Missouri Local Government Employee Retirement System, Loggers Benefit Program for covered employees, changing the benefit plan L7 to L6.
I move that we accept the second reading of Bill number B 22-02 and approve it as ordinance 2574.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Knox. Discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Bass,
Yes.
Alderman Cleaver,
Yes.
Alderman Headley,
Yes.
Alderman Knox,
Yes.
Alderman Mills,
Yes.
and then Stratton is abstaining, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Motion carries 5-0. Next item, Bill B 22-03.
This is an ordinance amending Chapter 705 Sewage and Sewage Disposal of the Code of Ordinances in Section 705.010 Definitions, Section 705.020 Unlawful Deposits in General.
I move that we accept the first reading of bill number B 22-03 and bring it back for its second reading by title only at our next regular session.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Headley. Discussion?
Mayor, members of the board, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Tuttle for just a second.
This ordinance and two last ordinances that you're considering tonight were initiated due to our new MS4 stormwater permit issued by DNR. It's much more comprehensive permit than our previous one, and during our audit process, they identified areas in our code that in their thought pattern was deficient. So this one addresses illicit discharges, because that's where discharges are currently addressed in our ordinances.
Further discussion, comments, questions? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion carries 6-0. Next item, B 22-04.
This is an ordinance amending Chapter 386 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Grain Valley, Missouri pertaining to neighborhood vehicles and UTVs and repealing Chapter 387.
Mayor, I move that we accept the first reading of bill number B 22-04 and bring it back for its second reading by title only at our next regular session.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Cleaver. Discussion?
Mayor, members of the board, with the increased popularity of UTVs and recreational vehicles that we've seen in the city, we thought that it'd be a good idea to go through and account for that in the code. So basically, after looking at what some others had done, with myself, Ms. Logan, and Chief Beal, we kind of went through and basically, as much as possible, tried to mirror what we had as far as golf carts, as far as the requirements for what was included on them or what had to be put on them, and then the kind of the permitting process. So what you have before you would be repealing the existing section that kind of dealt with that and implementing a new section that covers it all.
Questions, comments?
I have a couple questions. Are we familiar with what any of the surrounding cities are doing in relation to UTVs? Permitting?
Yeah.
Blue Springs, Independence?
I'm not sure what Blue Springs or Independence is doing. We took Excelsior Springs had ordinances on it. Odessa used them. I did talk with Dales, and I definitely felt like we had a need. They're talking about selling 50 to 60 at their highest peak this coming year, and I think we need to put something in place to enforce it. I'm really not sure what Blue Springs, how they're going to enforce theirs, but definitely believe there's a need for us.
Has there been any thought or discussion on cubic centimeter, cubic inch, horsepower limitations, anything like that?
Just speed limits.
What's that?
The speed limits were in there.
Just the speed limit?
Yeah, and what we tried to do too was take the, because the state gives some guidance on what they consider each vehicle, each type of vehicle, and tried to kind of mirror what they use as far as definitions.
So, yeah, so just so I'm aware, these don't have to be registered through the Department of Transportation, Highway Patrol, nothing like that?
No, they don't.
Okay.
But we will have something in place, so you'll be able to identify them when they're out on the road, that they have been inspected by the police department. They'll
Is that
have
something like a
sticker.
oh, sticker?
They'll have a sticker on it, yes.
Gotcha.
So in that sense, it would be the same as the golf carts that are allowed now.
Okay.
So they'd be allowed on every street?
No, there's requirements in there. They would only be allowed on streets up to a certain speed limit,
Which is
which in this-
35 miles an hour,
35?
35.
now it does have things in there where you can cross a street, and then there's in part of the code not being able to run down like state highways and that type thing, which again was mirrored kind of the both the golf cart side of it and what the state has typically used for language.
Now, are these vehicles street legal?
What's that?
Are they street legal? Headlights?
Yes,
Lights,
yes, brake lights,
belts.
headlights, turn signals. And once this ordinance is passed, I'll meet with Megan and them to give them a copy of the ordinance. So whenever they sell it one to someone in Green Valley, they'll know what the procedures are.
These will be licensed drivers only?
Yes.
What kind of impact's that gonna have on police force trying to enforce that? I'm already got some phone calls about this coming up and concerns about their neighborhoods that they're already running rampant in.
Well, I think that's the reason why we need this ordinance, so we'll be able to enforce it. Right now, I mean, we don't have anything to enforce it.
What about insurance? Where does that fall
Yeah.
into the process of registering the vehicle?
Just like a regular motor vehicle, they have to be insured, they have to be a valid driver.
So will they have to show proof of that when they register
Yes,
with the
when
police
they
department?
come up to get their permit, they have to show proof of all that, yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask a question that's like the one we never wanna see. Because in my neighborhood, I already see minors driving these types of vehicles, not licensed drivers, not even old enough to be a licensed driver. So if something were to happen and they were to hit a pothole or something and wreck and be injured, is that gonna come back on the city in any capacity for responsibility?
Cities in the state of Missouri have sovereign immunity, so cities are only liable up to the amount of insurance that they carry. An exception to that would be a situation where there is a known dangerous condition on property. So if a pothole, whether like we've had recently, if a pothole opens up today and the first car that hits it, there's typically not going to be liability because it wasn't known. And then beyond that, if there is liability, it's covered by insurance and only to the extent of insurance that the city purchases.
Additional questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion carries 6-0. Next item, ordinance B 22-05.
This is an ordinance amending Chapter 405 subdivision regulations of the Code of Ordinances in Section 405.030 subdivision application procedure and approval process and Section 405.040 required minimum improvements generally.
I move that we accept the first reading of bill number B 22-05 and bring it back for our second reading for title only at our next regular session.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Knox. Discussion?
Mayor, members of the board, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Tuttle again.
This is the second of three ordinances. Chapter 405 deals with platting and subdivisions, and this is where requirements for HOAs are addressed, and HOAs generally own the detention and retention basins that are privately owned within subdivision after the developer is through. So those requirements are spelled out in 405 that they have to meet for maintaining these facilities. And if not, then there's a procedure for the city to step in and maintain them and recover the funds to do that. Also took advantage of the fact that we were working on this to go ahead and change the requirement for signatures on minor plats. It did require signature from planning and zoning, but planning and zoning never reviews those. Those are reviewed administratively and approved administratively. So that change was made so that the community development director can sign off on those. And one other change in there for preferences for open channels, getting away from lined concrete and making sure that we have natural channels wherever available and grass channels where the velocities of the water will not erode.
Further comments, questions? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion carries 6-0. Next item, B 22-06.
This is an ordinance amending Chapter 501, Land Disturbance Permit of the Code of Ordinances in Section 501.020, Definitions, Section 501.060, Responsibility of Permit Holder, Section 501.090, Penalties, and a new Section 501.200, Post-Construction Stormwater Control.
Mayor, I move we accept the first reading of Bill 22-06 and bring it back for its second reading by title only.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Bass. Discussion?
Mayor, members of the board, we'll turn it over to Mr. Tuttle to finish out the night here on ordinances.
This is the final ordinance, and it sort of mimics wording of Chapter 405, but it creates an entirely new section called Post-Construction Standards, which was another item that DNR said our current codes were deficient in. So it creates that for the maintenance of retention and detention basins. And again, if they don't properly maintain them according to DNR standards and to the city standards, then the city has the ability to step in and correct those and recover the funds. We added some definitions for clarity and require developers hire erosion control inspectors on larger site projects so that we don't have to do the inspections on large ones. They are required by their DNR permits anyway to hire these inspectors. So this also requires it in our ordinance and has them submit it to us.
Further questions, comments? I had one question. I assume that when there is a violation that we would notify the proper parties and have them try and make the corrections before we stepped in?
The procedure is set up that they would receive a 30-day notice to correct it. And since they're a homeowners association, and a lot of the property owners don't realize that what the homeowners association gets, we also notify all the property owners within that homeowners association. So they have 30 days, and then we can give them an extension before the city would move in and make the corrections.
Thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion carries 6-0. Next item, city attorney's report.
No report tonight, Mayor.
Next item, city administrator and staff reports.
I'll start, Mr. Craig.
The monthly financial report for December was provided in the board packet, and I also wanted to let you know that the W-2s have been processed for 2021, and the mayor and board of Aldermen W-2s were put in your mailbox here at City Hall. That's all that I had for my report.
The only other thing was just a reminder of the workshop on February 7th at 6:00. No other comments.
Next item, Board of Aldermen reports.
Here, yes.
Go ahead.
I was asking where. Here.
All right. Next item, Board of Aldermen reports and comments. Alderman Bass,
Nothing at this time.
Alderman Cleaver,
Nothing at this time.
Alderman Headley,
Nothing at this time.
Alderman Knox,
Nothing at this time.
Alderman Mills,
Nothing at this time.
Alderman Stratton.
Nothing this evening, thank you.
My report, I have nothing at this time. That being said, I don't believe there's need for executive session. Meeting adjourned.